Alright, as I hoped, this episode didn't lose any momentum for the season due to the tribe absorption slash switch. It kept the momentum right where it was, and now it's a whole different ballgame. So the Brain Tribe gets back from Tribal Council. Spencer makes that offhand comment about how the three of them could be possibly the final three, and given where they're standing with everything this episode, that's actually looking like it wouldn't be too far off a possibility. We'll have to see, because historically, almost every tribe, well actually all but one of the tribes that we've considered to be the worst in Survivor history, Ulan, both versions of Ravu, although many people really just say the first incarnation of Ravu, Foa Foa, and Mad Scene, all of them except Ulan have produced the eventual winner of the season. Now, I didn't count Fawn in there, but since there were two tribal switches, you kind of have to take it off the list on a technicality. And many people will put Gaolu on that list due to a technicality, but whatever, I'm going to move away from that topic. But then Tasha makes this crazy comment about, if we go back to tribal in 3 days, Spencer probably is gone, and I'm like, do you not watch the show? Every season that has started off with 3 tribes has always gone down to 2 tribes after 4 people have gone. Yo! Use the fan brain, come on! Although, of course, could you possibly forget that when you're out there? Yes, but anyways. So, then we got the tribe absorption and switch. Well, they absorbed the brain tribe, but I don't think it was so much because they were the smallest tribe. I think it has more to do with like the shelter conditions that the other 2 tribes had. And I find it interesting that 8 of the 11 people that could have stayed at their original beaches ended up switching tribes. Pretty interesting, huh? So, as for that reward challenge, honestly, like I think with most people out there, it was kind of unfair, because, having Cliff on the pole, yeah, it's going to be real tough to get rid of him. I really wish Jeff had explained in his questions with Dalton Ross what the decision-making behind the tribe selecting who to go where was, that kind of thing. I mean, like, they could have drawn for it, but I don't know. I really wish we had that, because of what was going on. It was pretty much a guarantee that Solana would win, and they did. So I was slightly disappointed by that, but it was a reward challenge, so I wasn't going to complain that much. So then the situation on Apari, at first I was thinking 2 things, that Sarah would be targeted and that the brains would be targeted, but it turns out the reverse of that is happening, because although Sarah feels a little uncomfortable, given the interaction between Brain and Beauty, I actually don't think she's in any danger, but she could be, we don't know. And then, as for the brain, surprisingly, no one seems to be trying to challenge them. They seem to be in the best position, which is absolutely hilarious. And then Beauty, modeling the high school comments that everyone's been making about them, try and sell each other out. It was hilarious! I mean, like, it does make sense that Morgan did what she did, but she was on the outs from her tribe, and what she's saying is partially true both on emotion and gameplay-wise. For Jeremiah and Alexis, it's strictly personal, but just... Jeez! So if, as of right now, if anyone's going to go on that tribe, it's a former Beauty. Who do I think it'll be? As of right now, I'm thinking Alexis. I'm not entirely sure why. And it'll be very interesting to see if it ends up being 6-1 for her to go, huh? Then the situation on the new Solana tribe, I was kind of a little surprised in retrospect that Braun originally tried to stick together, because you know how just a couple of days before they were actually trying to throw the challenge, but then the tribe switch happens and then they actually say, yeah, we'll stick it together. I mean, like, you would think that it does make sense that they would try to, but retrospect, it was an accident waiting to happen. And that's what happened. Trish leaves the tribe and starts talking to LJ because of the bond. And Cliff is correct that Trish is playing with her emotions, not her brain. That is true. But it goes to reinforce something that's kind of surprising because Tony was trying to in the previous episodes, create some friction in the tribe. But the interesting thing was he was making the girls have friction with each other, because Sarah was having issues with Lindsay due to the lie Tony told her. She was the one that wanted to throw the challenge. Cliff is angry at Trish, so it's pretty interesting how a lot of the females are the ones that are creating the hate, even though ironically it's the guys that are originally sparking these reactions. Interesting. And I did find it a bit of a bummer that LJ was on the outs for that tribe. I mean, justifiably so. He is the stronger person and could be a threat in that merge, absolutely, but well, just out of the beauty tribe, he was pretty much the best. Actually, best, screw it. Only one making big strategic decisions, so yeah, I didn't want to see him go because, he's got a nice strategic mind there. Not as much as like Spencer or Tony or Tasha and Kaz, but he's got one, trust me. Yeah. So, I was hoping that something would switch up on that tribe. More on that later. So the immunity challenge, originally I was going to talk about them setting out a member of the tribe, because it's the 7-member tribes, but the challenge requires 6. Whatever, I'm not going to bother with that, although I thought it was hilarious, the rock, paper, scissors thing. Apolly winning, I wanted to see that happen, even though it would put LJ in a tricky position. So going back to camp, it becomes obvious that Tony is the swing vote. Now, it does make sense, as I said earlier, at first, that Tony would want to stick with his tribe, but putting LJ aside here, because that was the main reason I wanted to see Tony flip, to keep LJ in the game. The other reason I wanted Tony to flip was because I was looking at his confessionals from the previous episode, noting how he was creating friction within his tribe, and I go, so based on everything that you've mentioned in the past, shouldn't you actually want to flip? Because you've stated that you've wanted to create chaos or some kind of trouble within your tribe, so just flip. That would create all the chaos you want right there. Now, that could put him in danger, but hang on, I'm going to get back to that point. So this is where a lot of people have pointed out a big error in terms of like the editing thing, because everything going into Tribal and doing the voting suggested that the votes would be 4 votes LJ, 3 for Cliff, LJ would play his idol because Tony hadn't flipped, and that Cliff would go. Now, there were 4 ways the Tribal could have ended. LJ plays the idol, negates majority. LJ plays the idol, negates minority. LJ doesn't play idol and is voted out. LJ doesn't play idol and stays. Now that 4th situation is what actually happened, but I thought that was the least likely scenario to happen. And I totally did not expect him to not play that idol, and even after he didn't play it, I go, dude, that was just not a good idea. Now, I know what you're thinking. Marty in Nicaragua, well, guys, Marty, over the course of his gameplay, showed that he had guts to make pretty risky decisions, because, 1, he doesn't play the idol at the tribal where Kelly B left. He gives away the idol to Sash, giving him a perfect opportunity to vote him out in that 3-2-2 vote, but instead they vote out his closest ally because he gave them the idol. That's 2 very gutsy moves there. He could have gone either time. He didn't. But LJ doesn't strike me as having that much guts. So him not playing that idol was totally unexpected. Obviously, there was some kind of meeting between either Tony or Trish or Tony and LJ that prompted him to flip or something like that, because given his behavior at Tribal, there's no way he switched his mind there. He had his mind made up. So yeah, that's kind of odd that they wouldn't do something important like that. It's pretty odd, along with a couple of the other odd things that happened in this episode with those challenges. But ultimately, I do think Tony made the right move, not for keeping LJ safe, but for Tony. Now, hear me out on this, okay? Because had he not flipped on Cliff, sure, LJ could have played the idol and Cliff would have been eliminated anyway, or he could have not played the idol and then still have been voted out, but problems would have still occurred because Trish would get angry at Lindsay anyway, but also it's a little bit unclear of how Cliff and Wu would feel because they could go all kinds of ways with that. Now, given that he has flipped, Tony can very easily say, they pressured me into doing this. And I'm pretty sure that everybody on that tribe knows that he was the swing vote. But the ironic thing is, I'm pretty sure that Wu and Lindsay are actually going to blame everybody except him. Because I'm just not seeing them, getting angry towards Tony for flipping. I think that they're going to get angry at Trish for making Tony flip, and then LJ because he's afraid, and then Jeffra because, well, she is like that cute girl in high school, So, yeah, Tony has created chaos here, but none of it is directed at him. On top of that, he's still got his idol. Yeah, he's sitting pretty here. Because if there's anyone on the new Solana tribe that I don't think is going anywhere next episode, it's Tony. Nice. Now, I could easily be proven wrong on this assumption here, of course, but, way I see it, he made the right move because he's sitting pretty now. Kind of like how Philip was in Caramone, where he did seem arrogant, and Tony has been arrogant in his confessionals, but his gameplay is interesting to watch, trust me. So hopefully my thought process on what happened with Tony made sense, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen next.